All right, welcome to Hannity. And breaking tonight, the investigation into the deep state's abuse of power has now come full circle. Finally, Fox News tonight can confirm Christopher Steele, the former MI6 agent who created the dirty Clinton bought and paid for Russian dossier, was in fact grilled by federal prosecutors in June. Now, the interview with Steele reportedly lasted over 15 hours. It was conducted by lawyers that were working for the DOJ's Inspector General. That's Michael Horowitz. This is one of two reasons that the IG report is delayed. The other being key witnesses now, at the last minute, have finally decided to cooperate. This is going to get very interesting, but make no mistake about it, a crucial development in the IG's investigation into FISA abuse. That would be James Comey, Sally Yates, Andrew McCabe, and, yeah, even Rod Rosenstein should be very worried tonight. We know for a fact that Steele's dirty dossier, bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton, was unverified, as a matter of fact, unverifiable, full of salacious lies. Even Christopher Steele himself previously admitting under oath he had no idea whether any of the contents were true or not. And we know the New York Times now suggesting that that dossier, Russian dossier, was full of Russian misinformation from the get-go to influence the 2016 elections and more. Now, Robert Mueller, I'm trying to understand, maybe we'll find out next Wednesday, why did you and your team have time for FARA violations, loan applications from years gone by, taxi medallions, taxes from years gone by? How did you possibly ignore Hillary Clinton's bought and paid for Russian lies used to get a warrant to spy on the Trump campaign, the Trump transition, and the Trump presidency? And, of course, we also know Christopher Steele hated Donald Trump, and he was being paid a ton of money. Let's see, he was being paid by the Clinton campaign, the DNC, the FBI, and some oligarch. Good gig if you can get it. You paid 4 people paying you for lies. And so Steele spread his BS, anti-Trump rumors to anyone and everyone who would listen, including high-level officials in the FBI, the DOJ, Obama's State Department, the intel community, and we now know multiple media outlets. Even after he was fired for lying and leaking by the FBI, well, he was still using Bruce Orr to funnel more lies, this time to Mueller and his team of witch hunters. By the way, did Mueller use any of this information? Great question for next Wednesday. Now, because of Steele's rampant bias, conflicts of interest, and blatant inaccuracies in his so-called research, well, now multiple serious red flags were raised by officials at the FBI, the State Department, and many, many others. That didn't seem to matter to James Comey, the super patriot. He used this phony Russian dossier filled with these lies as the basis for the FISA warrant application. That's right, to spy on the Trump campaign. He swore that the evidence was true and accurate. At the top of that, I am told, at the top of the FISA application, it says verified. But we know it was nothing but. Anyway, joining us now tonight with so much more on Steele's time in the hot seat, our own Catherine Herridge. Catherine, one thing that stands out is if he testified 15 hours, we know in an interrogatory under oath, under the threat of perjury, he went on the record saying no, he didn't know if any of it was true.
Well, that's right, Sean. Good evening. Based on our reporting, the former British spy Christopher Steele was concerned he would get, quote, thrown under the bus in the Inspector General's report, and the appointment of U.S. Attorney John Durham to investigate the origins of the Russia probe ramped up the pressure on Steele to cooperate. Fox News was first to report that a key witness outside the FBI and Justice Department had agreed to talk with the Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz at the 11th hour, and that now appears to be Steele. Reuters broke new details this morning that Steele was interviewed in the U.K. in June by 3 lawyers from the Inspector General's office. And as we reported on your show last night, these late-breaking developments required some witnesses to be re-interviewed to deconflict their accounts, flagging another potentially significant detail that Steele was apparently interviewed twice by investigators working for special counsel Robert Mueller in September 2017. But the nearly 500-page report makes no direct reference to the so-called Steele dossier used to secure the surveillance warrant for Trump campaign aid. The Mueller report calls the dossier instead Steele reporting or Steele reports, which has the effect of minimizing the fact that Democrats paid for the opposition research used by the FBI and DOJ to secure that surveillance warrant in October 2016, and then they used it again to secure multiple renewals, Sean.
Unbelievable. And now we know why the Inspector General has been delayed interviewing Steele, these other people coming forward, as per your report last night. Great work, as always, Catherine Herridge in Washington tonight. Now, it has been said absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, nowhere is this more obvious than the Russia witch hunt. Bob Mueller's merry band of Democratic donors, they were given a very broad mandate and platform and tremendous power to investigate all things Donald Trump and Russian interference. And while they found no collusion, no conspiracy, no chargeable obstruction, they did manage to wreck the lives of multiple people that were associated with the president, of course, with strong-arm tactics that should make every single American concerned. If you care about constitutional and civil liberties, by the way, not even war hero, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, 33 years of service, he was not spared either. The combat vet fell victim to what was a perjury trap. McCabe, Comey bragging about it. He and members of his family were threatened with significant prison time. The screws were turned in the hopes that he'd sing or compose, as Judge Ellis once said. And, of course, in the process, mounting legal bills wrecked his family finances. He had to sell his house. He ultimately agreed to plead guilty to lying to the FBI, and the FBI didn't think he lied. He did it to save his family and his son in particular. But tonight, thanks to investigative reporter Sarah Carter, we are learning some damning new information about Flynn's plea deal. And according to her brand new legal counsel, the ever so powerful, smart Sidney Powell, prosecutors actually wanted Flynn to lie under oath against his former business partner in a case surrounding, again, a FARA violation. A recent defense filing states, quote, the prosecutors have been adamant that Mr. Flynn testified that he authorized the filing of the FARA form knowing and intending that it contained false statements. Mr. Flynn cannot give that testimony because it's not true. According to Sarah Carter's reporting, because Flynn is refusing to give the testimony they are demanding that he says is not true, federal prosecutors are now planning to portray Flynn as a co-conspirator in the case.